Do you, Tom, do you want to try today? Like, you say some sentence and then I just translate into Chinese in the same time, or do you prefer
Yeah,
that?
that's fine. That's fine.
Sure. Okay. Then
So I'll
probably
give the answer and then wait for you
to translate. Yeah. The
to
only,
translate and then ask the next question.
yeah, ask some questions. Yeah, the problem is I just don't want to hold you for long because then we need extra time to
No,
translate.
that's fine. That's fine. I know you've got to run to the airport, so that
Okay.
however you want to do it's fine.
Well, thank you so much. So we can try that today, and so maybe next time that we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome to Cheyenne's Forum. Today is December 16th, and here comes my dear friend Tom. Tom, how are you? Merry Christmas.
I'm fine. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much for coming to our podcast. We have lots of questions to ask you today. But before we start, I'd like to introduce Tom to my audience. Tom works in FBI for 30 years, and he worked as assistant director of FBI for 5 years, and he's retired now. And again, thank you so much for come to our podcast and give us your insight and analyst of current news. So today, I think we will try the other way to translate because normally we have the English version, and then I'm gonna do another program to translate into Chinese. And today we can try to do at the same time. So Tom will answer the questions, and I will translate into Chinese, and then yeah, we'll go like that way and see how it goes. Thank you so much, Tom. And question number one，第一个问题，我们今天呢就是跟那个 Tom 哈，是一个新的方法，就是他讲一段英文，我翻成中文。那 Tom 呢是在 FBI 工作了30年，那他其中5年呢是 FBI 的助理局长哈，他是担任了非常重要的工作，现在他是retire 了，就是退休了哈，非常感谢他。那所以我们现在就问今天的第一个问题，So President Tom just signed an executive order yesterday, actually, classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. So WMD, I think is a big news. And what is the significance of these announcement? That's the first question. Second question is, does this action imply the all judiciary and military means include war if needed? And the third question is, what kind of arrangement does FBI typically make to support this kind of announcement?
Well, if it's a weapon of mass destruction, then it means that it's an act of war to use it against us. And
Hmm.
so I think that's because of, the criticism that some people, mainly Democrats, are making about the US military bombing
Hmm.
small boats actually on the sea, leaving Venezuela, and saying they have they have this weapons of mass destruction on it. And therefore the people that are transporting it are transporting a mechanism of war and making themselves warriors doing it. So that's one way of trying to justify the use of deadly force to stop those boats from getting anywhere and to stop the people that are on the boats from recovering the drugs and continuing to transport them by other means. So
Sure.
that's one of the main significant aspects of this is that then it also means that since it's an act of war to transport those drugs, now
Mhm.
that means bring all of our tools to bear, which are
Mhm.
satellites and reconnaissance airplanes and
Sure.
submarines, any other
Sure.
naval vessels that we're using.
Sure. Okay.
So, excuse me one second.
Sure, thank you so much. So yeah, I will translate that. 所以我问Tom 的几个问题，就是昨天川普总统宣布说，芬太尼以及芬太尼的潜体呢，现在是一个就是大规模杀伤性武器。所以问他3个问题：第一个，这意味着什么？第二个，那是不是说我们就可以调动所有的司法力量？和军事力量来对付这样的一个行为。第三个呢，就是 FBI 在其中哈，通常会做一些什么样的 动作来就是辅助这样的一个重大的宣布啊。那 Tom 就说呢，实际上他这个宣布其中有一个非常重要的原因，首先是这个芬太尼，它的确是一个对于美国的战争。第二个呢，就是因为我们现在看到战争部啊，对于来自这个海上的这些芬太尼的运输呢，是用了这个打击的一个动作。那很多的这个左媒哈，就是有一些的声音，就说你们这个去这个动作不合适，是一个战争动作等等哈。那为了让我们的打击芬太尼的动作更加能够顺利的一个来进行哈，那这个进行的范围是全世界范围内，不仅仅是在加勒比海地区，只要是你有动作来向美国输送这个芬太尼，那一定是要打击。所以呢，把它宣布成一个就是大规模的杀伤性武器呢，实际上就是让美国的打击更加有力度，而且这个打击是调动各方面的力量去进行的这样的一个动作。Right, Tom, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, next question. What was the second question?
Yeah, it's about arrangement. What kind of arrangement does FBI typically make to support this kind of announcement? So
Well,
what?
what the FBI is investigating crimes against the United States. And
Mhm,
so, the president, by issuing that order, is saying that the transport of fentanyl is basically an act of war, but
mhm,
specifically, it's already an illegal act. So, of
mhm,
course, the FBI, with or without a declaration of war, it
mhm,
is a federal criminal offense,
mhm,
and it is killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So therefore, the FBI is going to be completely on board with investigating and trying to capture the people if they're in a position where they can be captured or prevent them from transporting these drugs. So that would be the FBI's role. But again, the president is the commander in chief. So
mhm.
he can direct the military. He's in charge of the military, but he's also in charge of the entire executive branch
Right.
of the United States. And that branch includes federal law enforcement like the FBI, marshals, DEA, ATF. Um, so it would include all aspects of federal law enforcement and then federal prosecution, which is then the Department of Justice.
Mhm.
So, yes, they would all be supporting what the president is announcing in this situation.
All right, thank you. Yeah, 汤姆的意思就是，我问他的意思是说，FBI 怎么来配合这个事情啊？那汤姆呢，他讲 FBI 呢，它的本质的工作就是来保护美国的这个安全，所以有没有这个总统令，FBI 都会做这样的一个工作。那打击毒品犯罪也是 FBI 的重要的工作之一。第一，第二，因为美国总统是三军总司令，意味着他是军队的这个总首领，也是所有司法机构的这个总首领，包括司法部，包括 FBI 是司法部的一个部分。所以呢，在川普总统这个命令的前提下，哈，那 FBI 呢更会把所有的这个精力和人员给他投入到这样的一个打击毒品的一个工作当中去，因为这个两个因素就是导致了这个 FBI 会。更加的全力以赴来做这个事情哈，他再三强调，川普总统是美国的三军总司令，这个包括所有的军队和所有的这个政府机构，那都是在川普总统的这个命令的这个指挥棒之下，所以呢，会全力以赴。Thank you, Tom. So we are actually very happy to see that, to see the announcement, because it's really a war. 我就是说，这的确是对美国的一个战争行为。所以so what do you think it will take? How long it will take? We can like announce our victory of this war.
Good question, because, do we have a victory and how are we going to know it?
Mhm,
If the cartels or the drug trafficking organizations in Venezuela, let's say, especially at the direction of Maduro,
mhm,
they can use all of their military means, anything they want, to try to get those drugs into the United States. So it could take forever. So far the war on drugs, we've had a war on drugs since I think since I was a baby.
mhm,
And how far has it gotten? So far and not that far. So
mhm,
I think that I'm not optimistic about how quickly we can end the war on drugs. I would be more optimistic on how quickly we could end the Venezuelan government at the behest of Maduro in being involved in it. So I think at some point, Trump is laying the groundwork to try to do what we did years ago against Noriega, the head of the government in Panama. And in that case, we sent the military into Panama, arrested him. He was already charged with drug trafficking in the U.S. courts, and we brought him to justice in the United States. He went to trial, and then he went to jail. And so, people are saying this could be the same thing of what we're going to have with Maduro, except Maduro, the government of Venezuela is much more powerful militarily than the government of Panama was at the time.
Right, right. Thank you. Yeah, 所以我问 Tom 的意思就是说，那我们什么时候啊，可能看到这个战争的一个胜利，或者我们什么时候可以宣布这个对于这个fentanyl 毒品战争的一个胜利哈？那Tom 的回答呢，两点，第一就是基本上呢，这个跟毒品的一个战斗是一个非常长期的战斗。实际上，从他小的时候开始，就和这个毒品有就是美国一直在跟毒品的战斗中。所以说，如何来定义这个胜利？那这是一个挺难的问题哈。同时呢，他是对就是另外一件事情更有信心，跟这个毒品有关的哈，就是这个fentanyl 有关的，就是关于现在委内瑞拉的政权马杜罗，什么时候能够把马杜罗这个政权给他扳倒？那这个呢是可以作为一个阶段性的胜利，因为我们是知道委内瑞拉它其实上是一个非常重要的一个毒品输出国，所以呢。马杜罗现在的集团也是深度的 involve，就是涉及到这个毒品和芬太尼的运输当中，所以在这个方面呢，如果我们能把这个马杜罗搬掉，那这也是一个非常重大的对于就是芬太尼有关的战争的这样的一个巨大的一个胜利。他也举到了巴拿马的总统的这样的一个例子。Tom, I have another question regarding China. We know that the chemical that made fentanyl mainly is from China. So, what's the relationship between America and China right now regarding this wall, if we have? So what do you think about this part?
Well, that's a good question because, President Trump is claiming that she and the Chinese government are cooperating with him, that he's doing, what
Right.
he can do with them.
Mhm.
And much of our leverage with China is economic and tariffs and things like that. And so he's being assured, he says, by the government of China that they're not doing this or they're slowing down or whatever. But the government of Venezuela and the governments in Mexico and the cartels cannot make these drugs without the ingredients being sent from China.
Mhm.
So we'll see how this plays out over time and how long,
Mhm.
how much patience Trump will have regarding
Mhm.
the activities in China, the distribution of the precursor chemicals
Right.
that go into making these drugs.
Right. Do you think China will do as American ask them to do?
I think it depends how we ask it and how, in other words,
Ah.
what kind of behind the scenes threats we're making and how it affects their economy and it affects our economy. And, and if China gets the impression that Trump is going to prevent that uh, production of drugs in countries like Venezuela or Mexico and keep it out of the U.S. anyway, then, maybe they better find a way to cooperate because it'll hurt them economically or will hurt them. We will hurt them
Mhm.
economically if they don't.
Okay, great. Yeah, good point. So you don't think that will actual war happen between America and China because of the fentanyl issue?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let me translate. It's very interesting. Yeah, point of view. 所以我就问他说，因为这个芬太尼的很多前体啊，90%其实都是从中国产的，所以一方面要打击这个墨西哥和这个委内瑞拉的黑帮， 这是毒品黑帮。另一方面呢，关于这个前体的部分，那美国跟中国会怎么样来去谈这个问题？这是一。第二，中国会不会来 follow，就是遵照美国的这个说法来停止生产啊？那他们就说呢，基本上到目前为止，川普总统呢，他是一直跟中国是在这个问题上一种合作 cooperate 合作的一个观点。那么就是说，似乎呢，从川普总统这儿来的信息，合作是良好的。那么当然是希望这个问题能够以合作的方式来解决。那我问他说，就是中国到底会不会听美国的，或者按照美国的这个来做？那汤姆的回答很有意思啊，他说这个要看我们怎么来问这个问题，因为有一点就是，如果我们能把从墨西哥运进来的这些毒品，就是南美哈、委内瑞拉等运进来的毒品彻底给它卡住的话，那中国也许要去找其他的方式来做，来做一些事情啊，跟美国的这个关系呢。另外还有一个重点，就是中国跟美国关系是个经济的关系，比如关税的问题等等哈，进出口的这个问题。所以也许中国政府会去衡量这样的一件事情，就是它值不值得来去做这个芬太尼的这个前提，或者他要用多大的力量来打击芬太尼的前提。那所以呢，这是一个其实是一个是玩平衡的事情啊。因为如果他们的意思，如果说中国觉得这个事情无利可图，那他可能就不去做这个事情了。所以他不太认为说中国跟美国之间会因为这个事情真正发生这个热战。Tom, and I have another question regarding this issue. Is we are thinking about China give the chemical for the fentanyl is because they want to make money. So that's the purpose. But if this is not their real purpose, if their real purpose is to destroy the American, so what can we do, or how can we tell their real purpose of making this chemical?
Well, I think that, we're kind of assuming that China's motives here are the disruption of the United States or the weakening of the United States government and the United States people
Mhm,
and the resolve to go against them. And I
mhm,
think that so far, uh, that may be the prevailing attitude in China is as long as they can get away with weakening the United States in any way possible,
mhm,
even though saying publicly that they're in a good relationship with Trump and everything's wonderful, and
mhm,
then deep down, anything they can do to undermine
mhm,
the economic or cultural success or military success of the United States, to
mhm,
them is worth it to go ahead and do that.
mhm,
So I think at a certain point, it's gonna be a matter of how much patience does President Trump have with
mhm.
what they're continuing to do.
Sure, sure. Yeah，他们的意思就是说呢，这个可能最后还是取决于看川普总统的耐心到底如何，因为中国方面有可能只是就是口头上说一种合作，但是实际上他的目的就是为了这个削弱美国。那么最终这件事情要看川普的一个耐心和中国的整个回应的一个态度。好，所以这是一个非常值得观察的事情。So Tom, do you think this is actually the announce of fentanyl as the WMD is a really big issue, or this is just a regular procedure? What do you
No,
think?
it's a big issue because
Mhm.
you can only declare so many things are weapons of mass destruction. So, and
Right.
the term's been exaggerated in the past to, you know, to include things that aren't really that destructive or like a bomb or like that kind of poisoning stuff. But in this case, it's an interesting legal concept because you have people taking these drugs, and in some cases accidentally because they disguise it as certain other available prescription medicine.
Mhm.
And and then Americans take it and Americans die. And
Right.
I think it's hard to argue that it's not a weapon because this isn't a private uh, cartel making money or private citizens or free enterprise in China. This is
Mhm.
basically being sponsored by the government of China.
Right. Right. 我问 Tom 就是说，这个事情就是等一下啊，看一下。 这件事情本身是不是一个很大的事？就是宣布它是大型的杀伤性武器啊。那他们就说，当然这是一件非常大的事，因为你只能就是宣布某一些东西是一个杀伤性的武器啊，你不能所有很多东西都是这个大规模杀伤性武器，所以本身是个很大的事情。那另外你考虑到这个事情的一个实质啊，它其实的确是如此啊，因为它很多人其实是误食了这个 fentanyl。就是芬太尼导致这个死亡的，所以这样从这个角度上来讲，它的确是跟这种杀伤性的武器没有什么不一样啊，所以这是本身是一件大事。从这个司法的角度上来讲，从整个的这个行政的角度上来讲，这都是一些重大的一个事情啊。So this is a big announcement, and it will have a big effect. And we'll, yeah, keep looking on what's going on and what's the next. Thank you so much. It's big. And the last time I remember, the White House announced the weapon of mass destruction is on Iraq, right?
Right.
Yes, maybe 20 years ago. So the next question is regarding FBI. Fox has reported that Dan Bongino will decide about his future at the Bureau in next few weeks. So this is not the first time that some people said Bongino will make his decision whether he's going to stay in FBI or not. Uh, what do you think? Did you hear anything about it or
I have
what?
not. I have
Not yet.
not. So that's
Okay.
a good question whether he's going to, he from a personal and financial standpoint sacrificed a lot. He was
Mhm.
making millions of dollars on his podcast and radio show and other
Right.
things.
Mhm.
And and he had to stop doing all of that
Mhm.
to become basically an FBI agent.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll see how long
Mhm.
it works and how long he continues to partner with Cash Patel, whether that continues to work or whether Bongino just gets frustrated that they're not able to do enough, not able to accomplish enough.
Right. OK，yeah，所以我问他那个 Dan Bongino 啊，就是现在 FBI 的副局长，因为又有消息说他有可能下几周要决定他是不是还在这儿待，那这已经不是他第一次了。那 Tom 就说他这个事情目前还不清楚，但是呢，这个 Dan Bongino 呢，他本身到 FBI 来工作，其实他个人就是特别是在经济上的这个失去是很多的哈。那在 FBI 这个工作呢，最后还是要看他的 announcement，就是看他自己的一个决定啊。那是不是他还愿意在这儿继续待下去，愿意跟这个 Cash Patel 继续合作？或者说他是不是对于不能够做太多的工作而有非常大的一个压力？所以最后还要等他这个 announcement。Do you wish that he stay, or it really doesn't matter? We can have some other person to come as assistant director. What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think there's others that can fill that role. I
Sure.
think the issue is that Bongino has written books about the FBI. He's done a lot of research going back, back to Russia Gate and all of those things that he wrote about. And, one of the things that comes up in this is there are still people in the FBI that are deep state, that want to undermine administration and
Right.
therefore undermine Patel and Bondi and the other officials. So I think that at some point it's gonna be a matter of does Dan Bongino think he's making a difference in trying to eliminate these people, find out who they are, what they're doing, and fire them, and
Mhm.
get people into key positions that are supportive of what the FBI wants to do, what Patel and the president want to
Mhm. So actually, Bengino have done a lot of work at FBI. Consider that his previous role, I think he's very good. He's outstanding. But we'll see, we'll see
do.
if yeah，我就问就是 Tom，就是他是不是希望 Bengino 在这儿待下来，或者说他觉得有没有人能够代替他？他说当然可以有人代替他，但是 Bengino 这其实还是不错的。他对 FBI 呢，就是以前也经过非常多的一个了解啊，他也写了很多的书，就是讲 FBI 里面的问题。那现在 FBI 里面呢，其实还是有这个所谓深层政府的人。 仍然是想来破坏这个 FBI，也包括破坏这个司法部啊。那但呢，他可能很希望自己能够做到，就是清理屋子这样的一个工作，把这些人给他拿下去啊。但是我们还是要继续来看这个事情怎么会来发展哈。So talk about the Brown University shooting. It's very sad we lost two wonderful young kids, and then the person of interest of these incidents released as an investigation now point to a different direction, according to the police of the local police. Um, so it remind me about the Charlie Kirk case. Remember that they catch someone and then release the guy. So it's like a wrong person being arrested. So does this kind of thing happen frequently during the manhunts?
Yeah, there's no real way to prevent it. If they, in the old days, you pick up a suspect and you bring him into this office or station or whatever it was, and develop more evidence or not and release the person. Now what's happened is because of the media coverage in these type of cases, they're forcing law enforcement to classify who it is that they're talking to. Who have they picked up and have brought in? And
Oh,
therefore, they don't want to say, well, he's a suspect, or we suspect that this person committed a murder.
mhm,
Person of interest. I think it's a stupid term. I've always been against it from day one, even when I was in the FBI,
uh-huh,
that you're going to pick up suspects, you're going to do investigation, and
uh-huh,
then maybe you're going to develop information that they aren't, who you thought they were. There's not enough evidence to continue to hold them, or
mhm,
you've gained evidence that they're innocent, and
mhm,
that's going to happen. So where they get tied up is this pressure to immediately try to identify we have a person of interest in custody, and everybody goes starts celebrating. And I
uh-huh,
don't like it because then what else happens is that witnesses or other people that might be suspicious of their next door neighbor or some other individual think, oh, well, they caught the person. I guess there's no need for me to help law enforcement or make a phone call or do anything. So I don't like it as an investigative policy, but this is what law enforcement has been doing now, even going back to when I was in the FBI. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now.
mhm. Thank you for sharing. I think it's very important information that you just share. And then also my question is that you believe that let the professional do the job? Don't interrupt before we finally find the right person. Is that your attitude to that?
No, that's not going to happen. They're gonna weigh in. I'm just saying that, the police and the FBI and other agencies just need to be aware that when they stick a label on somebody like person of interest,
Mhm.
anybody they talk to is a person of interest.
Yeah,
And however long that lasts, that person that they're still interested in that person,
right.
uh, you're not gonna be able to know until they have a time to look at that person and see.
Mhm.
So when they get this person of interest and figure out that he wasn't on the campus, he didn't go to that building or he didn't leave his apartment, well,
Right.
then that kind of eliminates that person,
Sure.
at least directly,
Sure.
of being involved. Now, maybe they're part of a conspiracy and encourage somebody else to go do the shooting. I don't know. But, there's a lot at stake. And I think what's coming up in this whole case
Mhm.
is the deficiency of security at Brown University and their lack of confidence. You see the Providence chief of police hold a press conference,
Mhm.
and then somebody whispers in his ear, "Don't say that." Don't. That's all to me. That you have a group of people that aren't that professional, aren't
Mhm.
that skilled, and
Mhm.
are maybe aren't in jobs they should be in.
Right. Well, thank you for pointing out that. I have actually the pretty similar feeling about that when I saw the news conference. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, let me translate this and this part. It's very important. Lots of people it's kind of confused about what happened there. 所以我现在接下来就问他的一个问题啊，就是关于布朗大学的这个射杀的一个事情啊。那现在呢，有一个叫 person of interest，就是我们中文很多翻译就是这个嫌疑人，其实他也不叫嫌疑啊，就是实际上也是一种嫌疑哦。我一下想不起来某一个词。那这个人被抓了、问话了，然后又放掉了哈。那么这个事情就让我想起来 Charlie Kirk 那个案子，刚开始也是抓了一个人，然后又放掉了。所以我问他们的意思就是说，他是不是这样的一个事情，是不是在这个追捕中是经常会发生的？那他们呢回答了几点。第一点呢，他说这个是其实首先他自己是很反对哈这个做法，就是所谓叫 person of interest。他说他一直很反对这个做法，因为你在追捕的过程中，你可能会对就某一些人觉得有一些的疑问哈，这个疑问绝对不是说这个人就有多大的嫌疑，那么你去把他带来，然后问话发现也许是没有线索，你就放掉了，或者有一些线索，但是这个线索不足以能够去证明他跟这个案子有关系，那也会把它放掉，所以这个中间会发生很多事情啊。所以这并不是一个比较就是少见的事情，但是呢，由于这个媒体的早期介入，所以呢，这个经媒体一放大，所以呢，大家都会就是觉得哦，这个人可能就是嫌疑犯，但是其实并不是，这只是一个在过程中的一件事情，所以他是。个人来讲呢，是很反对这样的一个做法，就是把 person of interest 过早的去暴露出来，而且呢，这个呢，他认为也会就是增强人们之间互相的这个猜忌。其实这都是在一个侦办过程中会出现的一个很正常的这样的一个现象。那另外呢，他谈到就是说，整个这件事情重大的问题是出在这个布朗大学的本身的这个保安的这个呃不 professional 就不专业上出现的一个重大问题。另外，他也谈到就是关于他的这个警长他们在给新闻发布会的时候呢，他们的一些表现，就整个来讲，就是水平不够高哈，就是这个业务水平不够高，技术水平不够高，所以呢可能会就导致出现到现在的一个局面。但是话分两头，首先是不应该把这个 person of interest 的这一个所谓的有疑问的人过早的暴露在这个媒体面前。那么他说这也没有办法，这个情况一直是这样的，就从他当警察的时候就是这样，但是他并不赞成这样的一个这样的一个做法。Um, so I have another question, Tom. So for the manhunt, this is lead by local police or lead by the FBI. This kind of manhunt.
Normally, in this case, you have a murder would be the police jurisdiction.
Oh, okay.
And so Providence, Rhode Island police. But if it's considered an act of terrorism, then the FBI could take the lead, or
Mhm.
both. They could both be investigating separately to determine later what the real motive was. Now, in this case, one of the things that makes me very suspicious, let's say, is that the girl that was killed
Mhm.
was a sophomore at Brown and head of the Republican Party on campus.
Right,
And so that makes me wonder, and it's an extremely liberal university,
right,
very left wing. And
right,
it makes me wonder, that she might have had many enemies as a result of her politics.
right,
And was she targeted? The individual that went in there, and to me, maybe it's too much conjecture on my part, but to me, when you see that suspect dressed in black walking down the sidewalk and crossing the street, and it almost makes me wonder if he targeted her and then shot whoever else happened to be around, but he was specific about trying to murder her and then leaves the building and he's walking down the street like I did it, I got it done that I wanted to get done, mission accomplished. He has
right.
that kind of, I don't
Yeah,
know, strutting type walk,
I agree.
and not like someone's trying to escape or
Oh,
nervous or any of
right.
that. He's
No,
like, I did it. I killed her. And I
right,
think that, in the era now of political assassinations, you look at Charlie Kirk,
right,
you look at this girl. These
right,
are conservatives that are being targeted by left-wing people because they're conservatives.
right,
And
right.
in this case, um, a friend of mine had just met with her and the Republicans on campus not too long ago because she was going to make a presentation there and
Uh-huh.
has just written
Oh,
books.
yeah, it's a fleet, right?
She Van Fleet.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And I saw a picture, watching the Laura Ingraham show on Fox last night, and they
Mhm.
showed a picture of the victim with this group, the group of other Republicans, and she Van Fleet is in that picture.
Right,
And so that means that she has notoriety on campus for being conservative, for being a Republican,
right,
and then being articulate and successful and very very easy to gain followers to her position.
right.
And it kind of reminds me of Charlie Kirk, someone who's very persuasive and
Hmm.
can convince people to follow what he's trying to say or she's trying to say.
Hmm.
And I just think it seems like more than a coincidence that this guy wanders into that room, shoots and kills her, and struts off down the street. And so we don't know, but I'm suspicious of that.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you pointed out. I think lots of people have the same feeling. It's probably it's not that simple case. It's not like just shooting. It's like targeted someone's.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, let me translate this part. So 我就问Tom，就是说像这样的这种谋杀案啊，通常是当地的警局来侦查，还是 FBI 来侦查？他说通常就是一般来讲是当地警局，但是呢，如果说你涉及到有一些，比如说可能是恐怖袭击等等，那 FBI 就会加入进来，那也可能是 FBI 立的，但是有的时候是 FBI 跟当地警局他分头来找这些的这个线索啊。但是下面这段话非常非常重要哈。那汤姆就谈到说，关于这个案子，他自己呢有一些自己的感觉哈，因为这个其中被杀的一个女孩子，19岁叫 Ella，her name is Ella。她的也19岁，那这个女孩子呢是在布朗大学非常活跃的一个
嗯
保守派的一个小领袖哈，她是共和党的这个布朗大学的学生的这个团体的副主席，那他也是就是很容易跟人接近的，很受大家欢迎的一个人。所以呢，这是第一个哈。第二个呢，那 Tom 就是从当时这个警察给出来的一段视频，就是有一个人穿个黑衣服，然后就是呃。之后就是枪案发生之后，从那个 building 建筑里面走出来。Tom 呢，他到底是一个很好的侦探啊，所以他看出来那个人走路的姿势，实际上他是一种跟不是这种就是萎缩或者是赶快要逃的这样的一个感觉，而是一种比较得意的感觉到我完成任务了这样的一种得意感，从他这个步伐中可以看出来。所以 Tom 的怀疑就是说，是不是他们的这个针对的对象就是这个 Ella，因为他是保守派的。那么这样呢，这个如果是这个案子的话，就跟他们去谋杀 Charlie Kirk 其实性质是一样的。Yeah, Tom, you have a laser eyes. I don't know what is that, but when I saw the video, the way he walks, I just feel weird, but I don't know what is that. Thank you for pointing out that he is like mission completion. It's that kind of attitude. So,
That's how I saw it. That
yeah,
this
right.
was someone that was proud of himself, had no
Exactly.
fear
Yeah,
that he was being going to be arrested or stopped, and
right,
so he's strutting down the street
right,
like
right.
I did it. And it makes you wonder because, now looking at, could this have been a conspiracy? Could somebody else have said to him, that girl is a threat to all of us, a very articulate Republican
Hmm.
who can persuade people to join her cause or to believe what she believes.
Hmm.
And, to left-wingers and all of the anti-Republicans and anti-conservatives that are out there, I could see somebody or a group of somebody saying, she has
Hmm.
to go. We have to take her out.
Right, right, right. I just saw a report that 99% of Brown University professors are like prefer left.
Oh,
90,
absolutely,
it
sure.
scared
You know,
me.
it's known to be one of the most liberal of all
Right,
of the Ivy League schools, of all of the colleges, as a matter of fact.
right.
And when you hear, and again, I guess I don't know, very critical, let's say, of public leaders that can't be articulate, that don't know what they're talking about, and that to me on TV look like idiots. Like they probably are idiots.
Mhm.
And, when you hear the chief of police or you hear that mayor, they don't inspire any confidence as far as I'm concerned. Now, maybe other people think, well, they're good liberals, so they're okay. I don't, because they haven't secured uh, or haven't guaranteed the security of their students, left
Right.
wing or right wing. And
Mhm.
for all of the money that that school has, and they just supposedly remodeled that building, and they don't have cameras installed on the
Mhm.
doors, on the hallways, in other areas. To me, it's just it's not credible management as far as I'm concerned.
Right. I agree. It's cannot believe it. It's they said they gave some reasons that why they don't have the video there, but to me it is not reason at all.
Right.
As you have over 10,000 students stay there every single day. How come you don't have the video shows us? So yeah, that's the thing. Um yeah, yeah, but that's really sad. I saw the picture of Ella. I just cannot I just cry. I think it's
Yeah.
yeah, that's so sad. And then the president of the university, did you see her? After 6 hours of the thing happened, she didn't know anything. And the reporter asked her, "Do you know that how many people, what, which classroom?" And then she has no idea, no idea. So,
Well, it didn't sound like anybody did. The mayor, the chief of police, none of them.
right,
And as you say, it's not like it's immediately just happened and we're investigating, we're going to learn.
right,
This happened even a few hours later. They should know a lot more than they did. And now,
right.
if they don't want to say, or we're protecting the information, that's one thing. Or
Right.
if they're just lying. But I didn't get the impression they were lying as much as they just didn't know anything.
Yeah, they just don't know. Yeah,
They
right.
were just ignorant.
Right, right，所以我就跟 Tom 就谈，我说的，因为 Tom 就是说，因为这个小 Ella 被杀害的这个 Ella 呢，她因为是在一个非常保守的，非常左派的学校，是一个保守派的学生，所以这个有可能使她成为一个人家的一个目标，所以呢，我就加强了一下这个。说法，因为我看到一个 report 说99%的这个 Brown University 的这个就是教授都是偏向就是偏左的，大概78%到80%的学生都是偏左的，所以这个保守派或者是说不是太偏左的极少数的人，所以 Ella 是这个极少数派的，所以呢，他们就说这个就很像，就是有一些人他要在这个人群当中哈，就是说像 Ella 这样的这个保守派，不能让他在我们的这个学校里面，他实在是跟我们这个不合拍等等哈，有可能是这样的一个情况的。另外，他也再次的谈到，就是不管是学校方面，还是市里面哈，还是这个警局方面，都显得非常的无能。那就是这个无能的一个表现，就是在他们这么大的一个学校里面，竟然走廊上、教室里还有这个建筑之外啊，大部分地方居然没有这个摄像。没有这个摄像头，那这个作为基本的保安是完全不合格的。那 Brown University 是很大的，就是很有钱的一个学校，他不可能没有钱去安装这些摄像头，所以他认为这是一个保安的严重失败，就是你根本这个摄像头没有，所以说你看不到那个凶手的正脸，所以你现在抓捕起来就有一定的难度。Yeah, actually, the chief police said it's really, really hard to find this person right now. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, and also the last question regarding the Comey case. You know that the judge just blocked the Comey case. The Clinton appointed judge on Friday ordered DOJ to return all materials it cites from Comey's Comey's media mole a week after she blocked federal prosecutors from accessing the key evidence of in the criminal case against Comey. So, what do you think about the this case? How this case will proceed?
I think it'll proceed with all kinds of litigation, let's say, into these motions and what they're going to do and what they're not. So between the appellate court and eventually the Supreme Court, I think it's too early to say anything of what's going to ultimately happen in the case.
Okay, so even though we have the judge to try to block the case, but still the case will continue.
Well, obviously the attempt to continue the case will go on. And I think, there's so many chances for appeals and what's going to happen. I think there's just too many questions now
Mhm.
of where it's going to go.
Okay, okay,
So I'm
great.
not I'm not saying okay, Comey's going to get away with it and all that. We just don't know yet.
Okay. So, but the case was still going on, even
I
though,
think. I
yeah, great.
think.
That's a good news. Some people just feel very disappointed and think that Comey may get rid of it. Maybe he just can escape from the case. But we don't know. And also Clinton, Mr. and Mrs. Clinton refused to go to Congress for another time. So what can we do? So what's the Congress?
Oh, they can be arrested. They can be charged if they don't want to, if honor a subpoena.
Mhm,
So even again, we haven't heard the last of what might happen to them.
mhm,
They're just used to for all these years of getting away with everything, and
right.
can do the most evil things, and nobody it just goes on and on with them. So we'll see. I don't rule out that the Clintons eventually face justice. I hope that's true, but we'll see.
Okay, so yeah, you just mentioned that we can arrest them, right? If they just keep refusing to show up on the Congress for the
Well, look
subpoena.
what happened, when with Peter Navarro and some of the individuals
Right.
affiliated with Trump
Uh-huh.
when they were subpoenaed and said, "I'm not going," or "I'm not going to talk," or
Uh-huh.
they went to jail.
Right.
So so we'll
Right.
see. We'll see how much this arrogance lasts with the Clintons.
Okay, okay. So cross our finger. We
Right.
want to see
Right.
some arrested. And then我快快讲一下啊，就是关于 Comey 的案子。那我们知道 Comey 的案子现在被克林顿指定的一个法官哈，要他就是要司法部还掉所有的这个一些档案，另外呢也不允许他这个就是 prosecutor 就是这个检察官来看他的这个案卷。那也就是说呢，他们很明显的在阻止这个案子，所以我就问 Tom，就这个案子会如何来进行？他说，尽管他们在阻止，但是这个案子仍然会往下进行，这个是没有问题的。那另外呢，关于克林顿的这个案子啊，克林顿夫妇两个人已经多次拒绝国会的要他们听证的这样一个要求。那今天国会也在说，如果要发传票了哈，如果他们再不听，那我就问 Tom 会怎么样？他说，因为你不遵守传票，其实是可以逮捕的。那克林顿夫妇已经是实际上他们是在高于法律之上已经很多年了哈，他们似乎总是可以逃脱法律的一个制裁。那现在看起来。就是他举了一个例子，比如说纳瓦罗当时也是不出席国会的听证会，最后就被抓起来，而且投入监狱。所以我们要现在再继续来观察这个我们对克林顿的夫妇会是一个什么样的一个态度。Actually, Clintons are the standard of how we force our law. Can we say that? It's a yeah, we can taste our current DOJ and how strong they are.
Well, that's partially true, but the biggest handicap right now for federal law enforcement or for federal prosecutions are the judges that go back to being appointed by the Clintons and Obamas and Biden and all of that. And
Right,
these judges are coming up with these outrageous rulings,
right.
and it's hard to appeal every single one in a timely manner
Mm-hmm.
and overturn it.
Right.
And pretty much these judges are arrogant. They think they can get away with whatever they want, and so far they have. They've been able to.
Right, right. So it's a long run. It's a long run.
Yeah.
所以我说，那就是克林顿的案子，它是一个标杆，就是看现在的司法部或者现在的执法能有多有力度啊。那他们就说呢，这个对一半这个说法，那因为还有一个很大的原因是，现在左派所指定的法官在各个位置上，他们是完全是非常傲慢，而且完全是可以说无视法律的。那你这些法官在位置上有很多事情，你想及时的推进是有很大的障碍的哈，那这个也是一个实际的一个情况。So how about the one last question? How about the midterm for 2026? What do you perceive of the 2026? Easy win for Trump for Republic or no?
Not an easy win. And I think that part of it is that, the Democrats lacking true leadership
Mm-hmm.
just continue to throw mud at Trump, throw mud at the wall and see what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, we'll see. People are, the Democrats with their latest affordability. We don't have affordability. We don't have every single thing that was a damage to the economy over the Biden administration, from inflation, from, the price of gas, the price of heating your home, the price of homes in general, interest rates, whatever, that it didn't take long for Biden to undo all the success of Trump's first term.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're trying to put it back together and recover from that. And I think that, we'll see. And the problem is it's a short period of time between now and November
Mm-hmm.
when, 10 months from now, we're going to have the midterm elections.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, the Democrats keep saying, well, you haven't, brought down this and brought down that. Well, they did all that damage. And I
Right.
think that Trump, at some point will be able to, turn on, especially now as you start to see statistics come out about the economy turning and about the
Mm-hmm.
revenue coming in from tariffs
Mm-hmm.
and some of those kind of things. It's going to be hard to argue that the Democrats, it hasn't gotten more affordable. When you have the price of gas going from consistently over $3 a gallon to consistently under $3 a gallon, and the longer that goes and the more it keeps dropping, the price of fuel, the price of diesel fuel for trucks,
Mm-hmm.
tractors, all the mechanisms that get food into the grocery stores and into your homes, um, that's going to continue to improve.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, how quickly will it improve, especially given how stupid the Democrats are to not figure that out. Their guy did this to the country,
Right.
Biden,
Right.
and the guy they hate, Trump, is fixing it. And they can't, they're not happy that it's not being, I think maybe they are happy that it's not being fixed soon enough so that
Mm-hmm.
they could take credit and say, oh, we've got to vote more. And they've already said, vote more Democrats into the House so they can impeach Trump. They've already said that. They're
Yeah.
already talking about it.
You just
So,
wait.
yeah. So I think that, we're going to, my hope is that enough of the changes that Trump has made to
Mm-hmm.
the economy will be
Mm-hmm.
felt, that people will be able to generally feel like, look what he's done, look what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Great. So the key word is economy change, better economy.
Yeah.
哎，所以我问了 Tom，就是关于2026年的中期选举啊，那实际上很快的，马上就要到了的，他的一个展望，就是说，会不会是在共和党方面赢的胜算是不是比较大，比较容易的一个赢局啊？那他说这个他赢局并不见得是很容易的哈，那因为呢，实际上他认为，主要人们是看这个经济政策和这个经济所带来的变化，给人们的生活带来的变化，这是一个重点。那现在的民主党方面呢，他的问题是叫做就缺乏这个真正的领导力。缺乏真正的领袖人物，这个呢是他目前的一个状况。那所以他们做的事情就是不断的往这个川普政府泼脏水等等等等，把这个由拜登经济所导致的这个美国经济的这个困境推到川普 头上，因为到目前为止，川普上任1年还不到嘛，哈，所以呢，这个是他们的一个 strategy。但是现在呢，我们看到这个，比如油价的一个下降，哈，比如说这个revenue 的一个增加，就是特别是关税的一个增加，那么这些就是Tom 就是说，油价如果有足够能够就是保持下降的一个状态，保持这个低的一个状态哈，那这个就是 revenue 收入继续来增加啊，那当然这个收入会体现在全民的这个身上。那如果这两个情况能够保持呢，那在中期选举中应该说共和党还是有把握的，主要是来看经济哈。那他说，当然有一些民主党的选民真的是很愚蠢哈，他们想不到说这个经济的一个严重的这个状况，其实是拜登时期的这个经济政策所一直导致的。但是现在呢，川普用这样的一些时间哈，已经开始把这个经济扭转，那就是他们的意思就是要这个经济扭转上升的这个趋势要足够发生的足够快、足够明显、足够能够就是支撑。那这样的话呢，就是希望更多的民主党的选民能够反应过来这个事情，就是说他们所喜欢的拜登给他们带来了经济上的灾难，而他们不喜欢的川普给他们带来经济上的这样的一个新生。Well, thank you so much. I try to speak as quick as possible. And also, Tom, what do you think is important issue that you want our audience to understand or pay attention?
I think that what we should devote more time next week when we have a chance
Mhm.
is to talk about the war on terror. You know, we've had the open border and law enforcement officials, even the FBI saying that at the minimum, 18,000 identified terrorists are now in the US that weren't here before. And
Right.
then people say, well, they haven't done, what have they done? Well, they're doing it. You know, we're starting to see these attacks now, and they refer to it as global intifada. Intifada, it was the term that was started in Israel when, when the Palestinians were revolting against Israeli law enforcement. The Palestinians referred to it as intifada, meaning kind of like, let's riot, let's have physical protest against the authorities. And I think now you hear the term, some analysts using global intifada, saying, look what's happening, not just in the US with the number of terrorists that we have running around. You have the arrest of the FBI of people uncovering a plot to do terrorist acts uh, at Christmas or New Year's in Southern
Right.
California.
The
And
arrest.
then, and other groups that have been identified. Then you have the attack in Australia. That's a
Right.
whole other issue. The people killed there by ISIS loyalists.
Mhm.
Then you have, the fear that that's creating kind of around the world. And, announced today that Paris, France, has canceled all the New Year's celebrations and all of that because of fear of terrorism. So the war on terror is back up and running thanks to the terrorists themselves committing these attacks, committing all of that, the ideology. And so, you look at the National Guard, the pair that were shot and the lady guardsman killed in Chicago on Thanksgiving Day. Um, you just have these kind of attacks happening all over, threats of attacks in the US, all over the world. And I think at some point, when you talk about will the economy be fixed in time
Mhm.
for the midterms,
Right.
well, will the people be satisfied that they're not in complete danger as a result? And the blame for it, will the people be smart enough to say, a big part of this goes to the Democrats?
Exactly.
So,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. This is a very important point, and thank you for connect this incident together. And this is the whole picture of terrors. So,
yeah.
yeah, 那我就很重要，下面这个信息就是我跟 Tom 就问他有什么事情觉得大家应该要了解的。他谈到了一个我们对于就是恐怖主义的这个战争哈，非常感谢这个 Tom 哈，他把这个最近发生的这个战争就是一些所谓我们看的单独事件全部联系起来，包括在澳大利亚发生的，在这个 Brown 发生的，在这个就是华盛顿有2位这个国民警卫队被这个击中的，其中有1位女孩子就是失去了生命哈。那么 所有这些连在一起，其实它是一个叫做 intifada，right？
right?
Intifada，这是一个新的词。实际上呢，这个 Intifada 是一个在全球性的，包括澳大利亚的这个悉尼海滩的这个事件，这是一个全球性的，实际上是个恐怖事件。那我们现在，汤姆刚才也提到说，在巴黎已经取消了所有的这个新年的一些庆祝的活动，因为怕这个恐怖的袭击。那昨天还是前天，FBI 呢在南加州抓了4个人，这4个人呢，实际上他们是想计划在纽约和洛杉矶的新年的晚上去搞恐怖活动的。所以这些东西呢，他认为都是一个叫做就是 Intifada 的一个组织。So Intifada is an organization, right?
No, it's
The movement.
kind of a movement of rebellion,
Okay,
and they gave it the term in Israel. They used the term intifada.
okay,
The the Palestinians and the Muslims that were attacking Israeli police. Uh,
I see,
this
I
goes
see.
back several years now, and
Okay,
lately with what happened in Australia and a few other countries, they're referring to it as current, like a new intifada. So they're referring to it as global. It's
oh,
not just in Israel or in the U.S. It's all over the world.
mhm,
The radical Muslims are rising up all over the world to
right.
attack Western authorities.
OK，所以他这个Intifada 实际上是在几年前，在这个以色列发生的，就这些巴勒斯坦人去杀这些以色列的就是那个执法人员或者是军队哈。那现在呢，他这个我们就是沿用他这个词叫的Intifada，实际上呢就是一个穆斯林的哈这一些在全世界所做的这个动作，这并不是一个成型的组织，而是一种运动。所以在不同的地方有不同的这个表现。那现在呢，这个事情在美国有个很严重的一个情况，就是实际上国家情报总监他已经证实了，美国目前大概有18000个这个有跟恐怖组织有联系的人已经在美国境内。那这个在美国境内，就是因为当时拜登的这个边境政策，使得这些人进来。那么有些人说，他们说有些人说，什么事情也没有发生。他说这个不会不发生的，它会慢慢发生的。所以这是一个很严重的事情。所以下个礼拜我们有时间呢，可以更多的来谈一下关于这个恐怖袭击的一个案子啊，因为这个都在我们身边，而且呢，这个也会破坏美国。极大的破坏美国社会的一个稳定，所以说到这个下一年2026年的这个中期选举，那么一方面是经济的发展，一方面是这个安全，那这个也是需要极其重视的一个问题啊。OK, Tom, we have some questions. There are some greetings from our audience, and nice to see you guys again. And then and then ask what about Pam Bundy? Any possible will she resign? It's a question from from one of our audience.
I don't think she's going to resign, and we haven't heard anything even hinting that Trump is completely dissatisfied and would fire her. It could happen down the road, but so far it doesn't look like it.
OK，所以 Tom 的回答就是，有一个朋友就是问说，潘邦迪怎么样？他会不会去辞职？那 Tom 的意思就是说，他并没有看到邦迪辞职的任何迹象。There are some people just asking for her resign or just blame her or criticize her about her achievement as
Yeah, I think she'll lose favor with President Trump depending on the Comey situation. If they
uh,
don't, if they end up having no ability to overturn these judges,
uh-huh,
and it looks like that it was mishandled by the Department of Justice, I think that'll be too much of a bad thing in President Trump's eyes. If that happens, he may hold her accountable.
right. Yeah, good point, good point. 那汤姆刚才讲了一个非常重要的事情啊，他说这个 Bundy 的现在有个很重要的事情，他手上的这个 Comey 的案子，我们刚刚讲的哈，如果这个 Comey 的案子最后给办砸了，那么这个基本上他认为汤姆就是川普对于整个的这个 DOJ 或者是 Bundy 呢，他会有一个想法和有动作了。所以这个是对于 Bundy 来讲，对于 DOJ 来讲都是非常重要的一个案子啊，看他 Comey 的案子能办到什么样的一个程度。Okay, it's very strange. And CC says, "Thank you, thank Tom. Keep in touch with us. You are American-born patriot, and we are new immigrants who really loves this country. Thank you for your knowledge about American politics and common sense."
Well, congratulations to you because you are way more patriotic than a lot of American-born people that I know or that we see on TV, members of Congress and other people, and they are nowhere near patriotic as far as I'm concerned. And then, for most of your audience, including you, to come to the United States and become patriotic Americans is quite a tribute to you for doing it and for realizing that, the system in China that you left or some of the other countries that people have left, um, it's a tribute to us as a natural born or American born person to have partnership with people that have come here and decided this is a great country and we're going to make it greater.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you. You're our encouragement. And yeah，这个朋友啊，就讲说非常谢谢 Tom 啊，就一直跟我们就用来做这个节目哈。他说 Tom 是一位老的爱国者哈，我们是新的移民，我们非常非常爱这个国家。那谢谢你关于美国政治的这些宝贵的一个经验哈。那 Tom 就是说呢，也很感谢哈。那 Tom 就是说，实际上呢，他觉得我们这些新的移民的对于美国的这个爱的这个感情，甚至比美国很多本来就生在这儿的人要多得多。那起码是被那些民主党在电视上面这个侃侃而谈的哈。我们对这个国家的这个感情和热爱是非常真挚的哈。那他也觉得说，我们就是对于美国的这样的一个贡献哈，也是不容忽视的。所以他也是非常高兴，也非常欢迎我们成为美国这个国家的这个新的公民、新的移民和美国的这个朋友一起，美国的爱国朋友一起来这个继续为这个国家而这个贡献我们的这个心力啊，所以他是非常非常感谢哈。So thank you so much. All right, so this is a wonderful, wonderful program today, and thank you, Tom, for giving us lots of information and then also to reminding us of the war on terror. So we probably can talk about that next week. And thank you for connect these incidents in whole picture, which is so important. And thank you for the new word. This is a new word to me, at least, intifada. We need to know the word and we need to pay attention on that. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
See you next week. Thank you, Tom.
See you then.
Merry
Take care.
Christmas. Yeah, bye.